Hi, this is Karen Kubicko, and today we're going to talk about in past lives, are you always male or always female? Or are you a little bit of both? Well, that's a great question because in reality, we are a spiritual being choosing to have a human experience. So on the other side, we're neither sex. When you are going through past life regression work and you're experiencing some of your lifetimes, you might find that you've been the opposite sex in some kind of way. You've been all ethnicities, you've been on lots of different countries in lots of different time periods. And so you've been rich, poor, the whole business. So you've also been male and female. So enjoying the body that you're in and using your body, loving your body, and enjoying whatever experiences and whatever things that are happening in your current life to learn and understand why you chose this lifetime. And remember to hit that like button and subscribe. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I often talk about the archangels. For example, Gabriel and Raphael. If you look at over the thousands of years that they've been painted over time, some people paint Gabriel and Raphael as female, some people paint them as male. Because in reality, and they tell me this often, it doesn't matter how we come through to somebody, it's what's relevant to them. Because on a spirit level, these angels, including any spiritual being on the other side, including us, we're neither sex. So when we express through into this human experience, if you come through as a female, that's where your best chance of accomplishing what you set out to understand or to learn about in this human life comes. You might have chosen to be a male, but you're choosing a male body or a female body to have a particular experience as a human. So when some people ask me, well, am I always a female or am I always a male in every lifetime? That's not always the case. Usually it's about 50-50. But sometimes if you feel like you want to have more experiences as a female, maybe you're learning how to really express or be independent, and over hundreds of years, females have historically had a more difficult time to be in charge of a company or to have that respect in that kind of sense in the workplace, for example. So you might have chosen to overcome that obstacle repetitively over time where you're achieving things no matter what, no matter if you are a female or not. Maybe you chose to be a writer a couple hundred years ago and even used a male pen name or initials for your pen name so that you're hiding the fact that you are female, but still being able to express and being an author to write a book or something like that. But you might have chosen to be a male more often than not, and maybe you had fought in a lot of wars, and that is part of what you know and understand on a soul level so that you can help work on camaraderie amongst others, to work with team effort types of things. And that was one way for you to learn that lesson on how to encourage others to help to be strong and, I want to use the word viral, but I mean to be a male and to have that ability to really allow yourself to express in that kind of way. So if you are a female or a male in this lifetime, you no doubt have been an opposite sex in another lifetime. So keeping that in mind. So you might also have chosen to be a female more often because you really appreciate being able to have children and bringing them into life. And that's just something you really feel strongly about. So on the other side, when you're picking out what type of lifetime that you want to have, you tend to pick being a female so you can have that mother experience. Now, alternatively, you might pick to be a male more often than not. And usually I don't really know that I've seen too many percentages go beyond 70% of the time I've been male or 70% of the time I've been female. It's usually right around the 50% mark, maybe 60-40, and once in a while, 70% of the time, people have chosen to become a particular male, female gender. And it's all about the lessons. It's irrelevant which gender you choose. It's the ability for you to overcome whatever it is that you chose on the other side when you pick this human experience. And part of that lesson might be to learn how to respect the opposite sex. I've met a lot of women who have come to me who, on some level, they hate men. Because if you've been in bad relationships with an opposite sex, for men, for example, then you start to get to the point where you're like, oh, all men suck, or whatever. So I've met a lot of women who have that same feelings, and they haven't worked through whatever they needed to work through quite yet to be like, nah, these guys aren't all bad. There might be a few bad eggs, but some of them are really kind of nice. It's no different than lumping together all female, same idea. There are good people and there are not so great people to hang out with. So it's allowing yourself to really be mindful of that because, underneath it all, you can't lump all men are bad or all females are bad, that type of thing. If you've had a bad experience, really go deep and see why you picked that. Maybe it was a bad experience. Maybe your dad or your mom in this current lifetime, that sex that you don't really especially like, is related to how you were brought up or raised, and then maybe it was reinforced. Maybe they were abusive to you in some kind of way. So it's like that whole pattern of understanding, well, why don't you like the men? Why don't you like the women? And trying to figure that out, because underneath it all, we're neither. So, but I think it's really interesting when the angels come through all female, and I'm working with a woman who is having a hard time with men. They'll express in this kind of way, or even I've had spirit guides who are male that are for the person I'm talking to, who'd love to talk with them, but are like, maybe not today, maybe next time, because they'd rather speak to a female person to connect with them. And maybe it's because they've had one too many abusive situations come up, but it is something that needs to be healed then, right? And stay to the end and to click a link to a guided meditation to help you remember a past life. Lots of love and light to you.